Good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a good Sunday. Sleeping in maybe, just waking up, drinking some coffee. I just wanted to hop on today to tell you guys kind of like what's been on my plate, what I'm eating, because in my last keto video I talked about macros and stuff and kind of just the basics of the diet, but I never really got into what I had been eating. And now that I'm 2 weeks into this, I kind of have like a good idea of what I should be eating, breakfast, lunch, dinner, that kind of thing. And I've learned some tips and tricks, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So first, like, what's in my coffee? I've discovered this bulletproof coffee, which some of you probably already know about. Lots of people do this even if they're not on a ketogenic lifestyle. Sorry, it's morning. Because when you do what is bulletproof coffee? First, I do anywhere from a half to a tablespoon each of coconut oil and butter. If I'm going to have a couple of coffees, I kind of break it up, but if I'm just doing one, then I do a tablespoon of each. So I'll just kind of show you, oh, this is super melted. Okay, there was like coconut oil and butter on this spoon, but fats melt really fast in the heat, just so you guys know. Everything's just melting because it's starting to get pretty warm down here. So yeah, the butter and the coconut oil in the coffee. Number one, it tastes really good. It kind of tastes like a latte. Number two, it's fats, so it's slow burning. So don't put sugar in this. Use stevia. I use stevia. I need sweetener in my coffee. I completely understand. But the purpose of this is you want the slow burning fats to be in there, not the fast burning sugar, because then you are going to digest it slower, right? So you don't get that coffee buzz and crash that happens so fast, you know? You kind of have this sustained coffee buzz because it digests with the fat rather than like the sugars that are just like whoop, and then you crash. So that's why like some people do it that just aren't on keto, and it fills you up. Like if you're not a breakfast person, I've started to kind of do this for Jordan too, because he just won't eat breakfast. I've tried, but now at least he's getting some fats in the morning, and fats are really good for your brain too. So it just kind of gets everything going, and it's slower to digest, so you're not just gonna burn through it, and it's yummy. So yeah, if you're interested, try that. I will post more about that so that you guys know, but it's really simple. 1 tablespoon of each or half a tablespoon of each if you're gonna have a couple cups. And then I just kind of wanted to show you guys like what I'm eating, because I had this idea that I would have to be eating all this beef and bacon and things like that, and that's just not what I'm into. So if you're into that, great, you can eat it on this diet, no problem. But I was kind of concerned about that, but I haven't had to do that at all. So let's just talk like breakfast. Eggs. I've been eating eggs for I used to hate them, but the last couple of years I've really grown on them. So eggs, fried eggs and butter. I usually add some cheese to get some extra fat in there. And that's basically it. So I use usually 2 eggs in the morning, and with the fat I add, I'm full. Like I'm really full until lunch or even the afternoon sometimes. Like I can go a really long time without eating again, having that, you know, fatty whole breakfast. So again, even if you're not doing keto, I highly recommend it, just because you're not gonna have that crash or that hunger pang like 2 hours later, which is something I'm just loving about this. So then lunch, like vegetables. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to give up all these vegetables. But you don't. You just want to think about the vegetables you're going to eat, because you just want them to be lower net carbs. And a reminder, what lower net carbs are is taking the amount of carbohydrates in it and subtracting the amount of fiber in the food. That is your net carbs. Those are the carbs you count towards your carbohydrates for the day. I'm for sure trying to stay under 30. On good days, I want to be under 25. That's my goal. So that's why you want to kind of keep in mind what vegetables you're eating. So things like leafy greens are really good. They're super low calorie, super low carb. So I've got like kale, spinach, which is basically my favorite. Above ground vegetables like broccoli are really good too, as well as asparagus. So again, like kind of some of my favorite vegetables, I've still been able to eat no problem, and I can eat quite a bit of them. And then you just want to add fats to it. So like if you're having a salad, a fattier dressing, or adding avocados in there, cheeses, nuts on your salad. You know, asparagus, who doesn't love asparagus drizzled in a bunch of butter? I used to try and not eat too much of that, but now asparagus and butter, love. I mean, I've always loved it. I just was trying to restrict my fats before because of the idea in my head I had about fats. So that's been awesome. And then even like vegetables and dip. So like I've got one of those summer fresh dip packs. All of them are pretty high fat, low carb. So just dipping your vegetables in there is going to ensure you're getting your fats in. Avocado, super staple item I've got right now. I'm eating at least one a day, high in fat, high in fiber, which is kind of like the keto golden ticket. So I've got lots of different things I do with them, put them in salads. I've been making this really yummy mousse. So I just put an avocado, about a tablespoon of cocoa, maybe a little cream or cream cheese if you want it richer. If you're trying to eat super clean and low fat, then you can make this and just not add that. And then I just put it in my food processor and whip it up, and it honestly has a mousse texture because of the avocado. So I will post this recipe either in the comments of this or later today. But it's really yummy. Like even if you're not doing keto and you just want a clean dessert, I highly recommend trying it. And you can almost like eat it for breakfast and get away with it. And then same thing, like so we've got things like sour cream. I'm not trying to eat too much of that, but when I need to, I will. And even like you can add cocoa and stevia to that and make a sort of kind of mousse thing too, which sounds really gross, but it actually is pretty good. Putting in the cocoa and the stevia kind of cancels out that sour taste, and it kind of has like almost like that cheesecake taste to it. What else do we have? We've got Vega 1. So I've been drinking Vega 1. It's not exactly like a traditional keto thing, but you got lots of nutrients in there. And the net carbs on this, there's 10 grams of carbohydrates and 6 grams of fiber. So that's only 4 net carbs. So that's really awesome. And then you still get lots of nutrients in there, which is really important. Just because I'm not eating quite as much fruit and vegetables, trying to stay low carb, so I'm still getting lots of nutrients in there. And then nuts and seeds, those are a big staple item too. I've been eating a lot of walnuts, keeping my fats up. Again, they're reasonably low net carb as well, and they're a really easy kind of on-the-go snack. So like some lunches, I'll just make a little snack plate with deli meat, the nitrate-free kind, cheese, nuts, some veggies, and a high-fat dip. So it's pretty normal, pretty standard, and it is high-fat, keeps you going. So that's kind of basically all I wanted to talk about today. Also wanted to show you these fat bombs I just made. So I've got coconut oil, peanut butter, and cocoa in here with a little bit of stevia. Okay, so you basically just mix that all together. I can also post a recipe of this because again, it's a really good clean treat. So you just mix it all together. This recipe actually like was fancy and like layered it, made it like a truffle. I just didn't really have time for that, so I just mixed it all together, threw it in my ice tray, and now I've got like a little fat bomb that you can eat on the go. It's a delicious kind of dessert kind of thing. So that's kind of, yeah, all I wanted to show you guys today is what I've been eating. You don't have to eat really that different. You just really want to be thinking about your fats at all times. And going out and stuff, like you can eat salads with meat. You can eat chicken wings if they're not breaded. They're still pretty low carb. There's lots of like little pub fatty treats out there that again I would try and avoid. And I'm not saying eat this all the time, but you can still eat out, which is nice. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you're watching this and you have questions and you weren't on this live, feel free to message me and I will either answer you right away or I'll answer in my next video. I've been doing lots of research on fats and saturated fats, especially with this new coconut oil controversy. And I've had a lot of like kind of amazing discoveries about some misinformation that started ages ago. So my next video, I'm going to talk a bit more about that, just what I've learned. I'm no dietitian or scientist or anything like that, but I have done a lot of research. So I'll just kind of share some of the discoveries I've made on my next video next week. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Talk to you soon.